License Trade International. Our next guest speaker is from Lanchester Wines, a formidable success story in the region with over 30 years of sustained growth and employment, now sustaining itself as one of the major wine bottlers and suppliers in the UK market. Going from strength to strength with a very interesting and bright future to be shared with us all at LTI 2013, it's going to be presented by Tony Cleary.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I think it's sensible. We have about half an hour here, so I think it's going to be sensible to give you a bit of history of what we're about. We've put on the screen there our film, which we had done for our Pro Wine stall in Düsseldorf in Germany about 3 or 4 weeks ago. So it gives you a bit of a taste of what we're about. We started back in 1980 from the front room at home. And we're a first-generation business. Now, a first-generation business means that we started with absolutely nothing and built it up from there, which can be quite difficult, as you can imagine. When you go into a second, third-generation business, at least you've got a bank account, at least you've got some forklift trucks and some warehousing and some offices and some desks, but we didn't have any of that. So we started, as I say, from the front room at home and then moved from there. So it's been a very interesting journey, to put it mildly. There's no other investors in the business. It's 100% family owned. We were very slowly at first into the on-trade wholesale. And then we began to supply the independent brewers like Federation Brewery and these sort of people who unfortunately are no longer with us now. But we had quite a lot of independent brewers, Jennings and a number of other people. So we supplied quite a lot of the larger wholesalers and the independent brewery trade. And then we're going to move on quite quickly because things started to happen probably around about 13 years ago. When we bought the Greencroft site. We bought the Greencroft Industrial Estate back in 2000. It's 400,000 square feet. Now, to give you an idea, most people know Macro. Macro is about 75,000 square feet. So it's quite a big estate. We moved in the January of 2001 into an 82,000 square foot unit. And it just looked like massive, and we just couldn't believe we were going to fill this thing. But now, well, as you'll see later, we're struggling for space, which absolutely amazes me. But it was a great move. We're sitting with a big asset behind us. We spent a lot of money on it. We had to put a new roof on. The roof leaked like a colander. So the 600,000 square foot of roof went on it. Had about 1.2 million. So that was over a 3 or 4 year period. So it's now all sort of wind and water tight, which it wasn't before. New roads, car parks, new state-of-the-art offices. We put a brand new 40,000 square foot unit on the front. A year gone, September, we moved into that. So that gives us now around about 450,000, of which we, as the Lanchester Wine Group, operate out of 350. The other 100 we have we lease to other people on the site. So that's where we are. We put a new substation in the last few weeks, which is about our green scenarios, which I'm going to tell you about in more detail in a few minutes. So the business has grown organically, although we have made a number of acquisitions on the way. We bought Parvert, which is the number 2 bag-in-box business, which is a 10-litre bag-in-box, wine bag-in-box business, which the pubs you see with the taps. And that was second only to Stowell's in those days. So we bought that back in 99. We started Greencroft Bottling, which is our bottling business, back in 2003. That went into Unit 1. We were in Unit 2. In 2004, we bought the 187 business of H&A in Chorley. Now, 187s are a quarter bottle. You'll see the small bottles you see on trains and airlines. We're the biggest bottlers of 187s in the world. We bottle 900,000 bottles a week. On average of 187. So we do an awful lot of 187s, which again, I'll tell you about those a bit later. And in 2008, we started Lanchester Gift, which supplies large retailers, internet sites, on a drop shipping basis, which means the internet operator just puts the hamper or whatever up on their site, and they take an order, they pass the order to us, and we do everything else. So we do all the work, and he sits there, takes the money. I think we're at the wrong end of the wall here. I think we probably should be on the easy end. But of course, we have a lot of internet customers. And this year we'll do 150,000 hampers, which makes us the second largest hamper operation. And nobody even knows we do hampers. But we do a lot for BHS, Debenhams, all these sort of people as well. So that's where the volume comes from. We built a new positive gift HQ down in Unit 4. So it's got offices at the top, a showroom, a photo room, so you can do things for the internet. It's got the first floor packing area, which is our internet business, first for wine, first for hampers. We bought that from Northern Ireland about 2 years ago. It also does fresh fruit hampers. So that's in another office, in another packing room upstairs. And there's a huge packing area downstairs, which covers the whole of the ground floor, which we started last February, and it's now too small. I can't believe it. We've only had one Christmas there, and it's not big enough. So we're going to have to extend it by another 2/3 this year. So we're going to start building again in the next few weeks. 2012, we took on a sales and marketing side of D&D Wines, which included a logistics operation. We opened new offices for Lanchester Wine Sales, as we call the business, down in Manchester. So we now have an office in Manchester, which is something I didn't really want. I want everything back up at Lanchester, but everybody lives down there, so it's a long way. So we had to open an office in Manchester now. Now they look after the bigger retailers in the main. So back now in 2013, the group consists of Lanchester Wine Cellars, which is the original company, the shipping and wholesale business, Lanchester Properties, which manages the site and owns the assets, Greencroft Bottling, which is the most modern bottling plant in Europe, Lanchester Wine Sales, which sells into the large retailers, and the new one, Lanchester Energy, which I'm going to come on to a little bit later, which operates our wind turbines and our renewables business. Greencroft was started back in 2003 with a small 3,000 an hour bottling line. It was tiny, I cannot tell you. But we bought it from Hugh Rock, and Hugh Rock's cordials, he used to do organic cordials, and how we made it work on wine, I'll never know, but it's now sitting in the back of one of the warehouses. It's not used anymore. It's mothballed. But that's where we started. Then in 2007, we bought our first brand new line, which does about 12,000 187s an hour. In 2009, we bought the second line, which again does 12,000 187s an hour, also does 75s. Then in 2010, we bought our first big line, which does 12,000 bottles an hour on 75s. Now remember, these are operating 24 hours a day for 5-6 days a week, so we're capable of doing quite a lot of wine. 2012 has been our big expansion. We bought our second big line, which is a bigger one again, which does 15,000 bottles an hour. And we bought the first high-speed tetra filling line in the UK, which does 8,000 tetra packs an hour, which you might see on one of the films. I think here we've got some tetras going down there now. So we're the only people who do tetra in the UK. So that's high-speed tetra for wine in the UK, that is. So that's a very interesting thing. It only works. I'll tell you later, because of our carbon minus status, the airlines think it's great. So hopefully that's going to happen in the next few weeks. There's 4 brand new big palletizers, latest specs, self-adhesive labelers, big carton wrappers, train shrinkers. We have about 1.5 million litres of bulk storage, because wine comes in tankers. You see the 20-foot containers. There's a 24-foot bag inside. That's just like a big bag-in-box, basically. That comes in, and we pump it out through filters into our own tanks. We have about 1.5 million litres of bulk storage, which isn't a lot, but we want it out of the tanks into bottles as soon as we possibly can. So that's the idea of it all. And this conveys by the mile, as I say. So, well, I've lost my place here now, but never mind. It's the most modern bottling plant in Europe. It's capable of doing 58,000 units an hour, which is awesome when you see it working. It'll never ever do 58,000 units an hour, because there's always something breaks down. We have a team of 15 engineers, 3 on each shift, and 6 which sit as spare, and well, 3 of the 6, in fairness, do preventive maintenance through the weekend. So that works very, very well indeed for us. So it keeps the lines running. We have the latest nitrogen inert gas injections, pre and post bottling and filling, which gives the best shelf life. We can give on a PET small bottle nearly 2 years shelf life, Nobody else in Europe can give more than probably 6 months. So we can give great shelf life. We'll guarantee 18 months because of the quality of the kit. We can actually do this. 8 weeks ago, one of our major retailers awarded us a blue on a spot audit for 2 days. You get a red, which is not good. Amber is not that great either. Green is fine. Blue is the best. There's only 2 operations in the whole of Europe with a blue, and Greencroft is one of them. So we're very proud about that. That's very good. That happened about 6-7 weeks ago. In 2013, we hope to fill 60 million litres up at Greencroft. This year we'll do, or last year we did 40, and this year coming we hope to do 60 million litres. Think about it, there's only about 60 million people in the UK, so it's a litre per person. So it's an awful lot of wine. It's amazing how much wine we drink in the UK. We're the largest fillers, as I said earlier, of 187s. We do 900,000 bottles a week on average. And we've now passed the 2 million bottles per week. We're now heading for 3 million. So we hope to, by the end of the year, we'll be doing over 3 million bottles a week out of Greencroft. We manage it with pride, professionalism and passion, which I think is very important. Mark, who runs our Greencroft business, is hugely passionate, even more passionate than me, which is surprising, but he's some boy, and he makes that place tick. Very, very professional and very, very good. You need good people. If you don't have good people in a business, the business it's hard work. And we've got some very, very good people in our business. The gift business started back in 2008, supplying bespoke gifts to in-house designed gifts to the major retailers. BHS is one of our major customers. We'll do about 150,000 hampers in 13, make us number 2 in the hamper business. Turnover's gone from 2.3 to 4 to 6 million next year. We'll take in 60 40-foot high cubes of baskets alone this year. So it's where to put them, hence we need more warehousing space. We do try to buy locally, and we mainly use award-winning and Great Taste Award food and drink, which works for us very, very well indeed. Lanchester Wine Sales basically does all the major nationals. We have 10 national account managers and a marketing manager, a logistics department, which handles all the inbound bulk tanks. And remember, we bring in about 10 million litres alone from California. So it's a big job handling inbound tankers because they get stopped and they get stuck at the Panama Canal and the wind blows and you can't get them off the ship. And it's not an easy job, but it's great. And Mari's a fabulous job. We do about 3 to 4 million litres of Australian Pinot Grigio this year. We bought half the crop, which was quite brave. But the Italian Pinot Grigio, you might have noticed, has gone up in price quite substantially because they've had a very poor crop. So we managed to buy all this Australian Pinot Grigio, which is really good, from Italian Australians, as it were, 3rd generation Italians based in Australia. So, and the wine's really good. So we're looking forward to doing very well with that. We hope so, because we've got 3 to 4 million litres to sell. So that's what we've signed up for. We bring it in from all over: Chile, Australia, Spain, South Africa. We're mainly New World. That's where the savings are. Lanchester Energy is run by Adam Black, our MD of that. Very clever lad. We've got one EWT 500 kilowatt wind turbine in operation now. That happened about a month ago on the land we bought next to the site. We've got at least another 2 EWT 500s going up in the next 4 to 5 months. So that'll give us 3 of them. Now, these things, are producing around about 2 million kilowatt hours per annum each. So don't believe what you see in the Daily Mail and the Sunday Times. It's all rubbish. These things produce an awful lot of electricity. Our whole site only uses 1.8 million kilowatt hours. So, and we're producing one turbine produces over 2 million. So we will be carbon minus now. We'll be way into carbon minus when we get the next 2 turbines up. And we're the only liquor business in the world to say that. We think that's a huge USP. We're looking at synthetic diesel, hydrogen generation, small wind turbines. It's a very forward-looking business. So, we're on to the green, which is what you're here for. The green credentials, we think, is hugely important. Carbon minus is a figure that we've just invented. We've got a little C with a bottle that looks like minus. We've got to put carbon minus underneath it, of course, because nobody knows what a C and a little bottle on the side means. So we put carbon minus on the bottom there. And it's going on all our own brands. And it's going on our new Tetralands, Adventure, like adventure, but with a VIN, V-I-N, a bit of a play on words with the old French word for wine. We hope to get 36,000 cases of 12 by litres onto US airlines, and we're putting it now for 700,000 cases to Delta in America, and then followed by SAS in Sweden, and then we're looking at American Airlines. We've got some very good people in the US who are working on our behalf, so we're hoping for great things. That's just come out of the Pro Wine Fair. So, and the carbon minus stickers on there. The airlines being the great polluters of the world. They love the carbon minus. They think it's fabulous. So it gives them something to their marketing department to work with big time. So we're hoping for great things from that. We include all our carbon usage in our figures. Cars, oil and gas usage, our own trucks, because it's important. A lot of other people only put the small amounts of different things in there. They don't put their own trucks, they don't put cars and all this sort of thing. We put everything in there. So it's important that we can prove that. So we can certainly do that. We have like new lighting, movement sensors, lightweight bottles, a new heating system, which is very efficient, a new fire alarm system, which is local, 10 Volvo 99-gram cars, a Nissan Leaf, which is really useful if you want to go more than 65 miles. It's a bit of an issue because if it runs out of charge, of course, you can't tow it. It goes on the back of a truck. So it's a bit difficult, but we use it quite a lot. We've got a charging post in there, so that's good. So the charging post, of course, is powered by our wind turbines. So that's a bit of a one-off. We have the fancy glass in the offices, keeps the heat in the winter and the heat out in the summer. Heat pumps for modulating the heat and the cooling in the offices. And of course, we're using local supplies as much as we can. Spanish glass has now been replaced by Ardagh glass from Barnsley. So we're trying to use as much GB product as we possibly can in the whole system. We believe the UK has got a serious energy issue, especially in the next 20 years. It hasn't been published or publicised at all. We get in within 1% of our energy. It's so tight that if people use it too much, the lights will start going out. So we think it's massively important to do what we're trying to do here. We've invested 5 million plus on this. There's about 4.5 million on the turbines, and then there's all the other things we're doing as well. We have a whole solar array on the roof and all this sort of thing, and there's a lot of money being spent on it. We do employ 250 people, and at Christmas, well, the last 6 months of the year, which is July through to December, is 320. We have 70 in our gift department packing hampers. We take their future very seriously. We're in a very much of an unemployment black spot, and it's very much in my methodology, but what we want to do is employ more local people. It's hugely important for us to do this. So we've got a good start. One of the biggest employees now in Derwentsside, as there were 320, which, as I say, there's only 250 on full-time. The others are on part-time for 6 months, but it's growing all the time. Like 2-3 years ago, we were less than 100, so we're growing it quite rapidly. One of the other things which I think is interesting, our green investment has effectively turned a competitive disadvantage of our geographical location. Remember, we're on the top of a windy hill in the middle of Derwentsside near a concert, not the most salubrious place in the world. Yeah. Now, it's turned that into a competitive advantage because we've got the wind speed of 7.2 to 7.8, so we've got great wind speed up there. So the competitive advantage, of course, is the green side, which we're in the middle of a valley in the middle of London somewhere. There's no wind, so we couldn't do it there. So that's one big advantage we've had. So we've turned that into an advantage, which I think is really good. We can meet all our energy needs and much more from renewables. As a company of our size, we think we're unique. We don't see anybody else in the world, especially liquor-wise. Liquor businesses can go anywhere near us. We're in a different field. We're playing cricket over here. Everybody else is playing football down here. We are so far ahead of the opposition and our competitors, it's frightening. We are really well ahead. What we've got to do now is think of some smart way of getting it out into the wide world, and use some good marketing and some smart people to do that, which I think it's going to be hugely important. We're a proud, professional, passionate North East company. We're definitely facing forward. We take our responsibilities very seriously, and we look after our employees, which I think is hugely important as well. And to give you an idea of some of the figures, on green, 1 truck of Tetra comes in reels, yeah, is equivalent to 65 trucks of empty glass. So we're taking 64 trucks off the road for every truck of Tetra that comes in. So that's an interesting one. 33,000 Tetra Paks go on a 26 pallet 40-foot load against 22,075 of glass. So again, that's 50% more. One 26,000 litre tanker from, say, Australia, for argument's sake, equates to near of 2 full loads of glass of wine filled in Australia coming over. So again, that's 50% more, or 50% less if that's the way you want to look at it. We can give class-leading shelf life, of course, with our new fillers, so you don't have to, there's very little destroyed. And if you look at 82% of 25-year-olds and under know all about sustainability. And remember, these are going to be our consumers for the future and our customers in the future, certainly in the next 20 years. So what we're looking to, we're trying to future-proof the business and obviously safeguard our jobs and our people, which is very important to us. The turbine's the latest direct drive technology, no gearboxes, very much more efficient and hugely more quiet, a lot quieter. The Tetra Pak opened their first recycling plant in Yorkshire about 3-4 months ago, so that makes it very, very green. In 2014, we'll install our first nitrogen generator, where we'll pull nitrogen out of the atmosphere rather than buying it in tank. So that'll be another good thing. And as I say, at present, we're quoting for at least equivalent of 100,000 cases of 6x75s for some of the US Airways, the same for Delta. I've said all this. The other thing we do is school visits. We encourage our local schools, 18, 17, 16-year-olds to come in, and we tell them all about business, which we think is very important. The kids get a bad press these days. We've got 3 and they're great, and I love them to death. They all come in and we tell them how it works and how business operates and when to borrow money, when not to borrow money, and all the good things we've done and some of the daft things we've done. So we give them it all in a wanna, and they love it. And then, of course, at the end, we give them a mini wine tasting. We want to see the teachers' faces when you start about wine tasting. Oh, they're too young. Oh, they're not allowed. I said, listen, this is a life skill. Don't you worry about the age. The parents tell them to give me a ring because I'll be good at that. So we give them a little bit in the bottom of a glass of Merlot and a little bit of Shiraz. So we show them how to taste wine properly, swirling it and nosing it and sucking it in and all this sort of thing. It sounds disgusting, but the kids love it. They get right into it. And when you hear them going out, they remember the wine tasting. And wait till I go home, my dad knows nothing. Oh, I know everything about wine now. When you're 16, that's what happens. You know, when you hear these things, you know everything about everything. I'm a teenager, well, I still know it all, as they say. But it's great, and it's something we should do. I think all businesses in the region should do this because it gives the kids a chance. They need to understand. What we try to do is inspire them to be as best as they can be. And it's hugely important. Nobody else is doing this, so we've got to do it. It's part of what we should be doing as a business, and our colleagues in not just in our trade, but in other trades as well. It's massively important we get the children in, show them what it's about. They don't see this. They don't see the real world. They see the world in a classroom. So with the real world, you know, makes it better. When they haven't turned the phone off, you need to turn the phone off. Oh, I don't need to do that at school. You're not at school now. Turn the phone off. Oh, right. So they turn the phone off. Now they realise that it doesn't work like that now. In the workplace, it's different to being at school. So what we've done now with Water's Edge, which is our range of top-end house wine, well, entry-level wine if you wish. We buy from some of the great people, Macpherson in Australia and Terramata in Chile and Lutzville in South Africa, ESV in California. We buy from some great wineries. We've got some great, absolutely fabulous quality. And now it's the first wine brand in the world to have the carbon minus logo on. So it's running the Australian Pinot Grigio. We just filled that a few weeks ago. We can only claim carbon minus when the first turbine started to turn. That was only 3 weeks ago, so we're going to have to wait and fill the whole range of 187s and 75. So it'll take a few weeks to get it all done, but it'll be all done in the next probably 2 or 3 months. So that'll be the first carbon minus wine brand. Bloom & Brook is a brand we've got as a tetra. We think it could be an interesting one. Bloom & Brook, Bloom & Great Wine, Bloom & Good Wine. We can, but it's not a great design, so we need to have a look at that design. And that Vincher, which will be great, will be the first carbon minus travel brand in Tetra and in 187 PET. Because remember, PET is plastic bottles, so we do them for things like the Robbie Williams concert of a few years ago. We sold 2 Arctic fulls of PET down there. I just couldn't believe how much they sold. Remember, PET, you can't do any damage. You finish the wine and throw it, it just floats along. So they're for all sorts of places, sporting events, sporting stadia. So we do quite a lot of PET, but we still do probably 85% glass and only about 15% PET. But PET, again, is recyclable as well as the glass, so that's good. But watch out for more new introductions to 13 and 14, using sustainable high-quality wines. We're using Tabilk in Australia, again, good top-end people. We're using sustainable and fair trade stuff from South Africa and from the Pacific Northwest and Chile. And they'll be following on in the next, probably next year by the time we get into Chile. But certainly the Pacific Northwest with Precept. They've got some fabulous Pinot Grigio from the Columbia Valley, which is really good wine. So that's sustainable as well. So we'll be looking to do that probably towards Christmas time. So Lanchester Greencroft, what are we? We're a local business owned by local people, employing up to 320 local people, world-leading technologies, the greenest, lowest carbon and sustainable liquor business in the world. That's going to be one of our new ideas. This is what we've got to tell people. This is what we are. It's a great story, and it's a fantastic USP. Sustainability, carbon, and green. The trouble with green is green doesn't mean anything. Sustainability and carbon does. So you've got to be careful. It's like biodynamic wine. What is it? Could be anything. What's a reserve wine? What is it? There's nothing written down. But carbon minus, there's nothing written down for that. But we can prove that we are carbon minus. And we feel that that's going to be a massive thing for the northeast of England, for ourselves first, northeast second, and we're the only ones that can claim this. So we're hoping for great things and onwards and upwards, as they say. Thank you for your attention, and good afternoon. Thank you.